you'll actually find out that it does indeed mean to connect, a serpentine form connected. And you'll find that if you look at the zodiac and the four corners of the zodiac, there's something very interesting about its configuration in heavens. This is the Milky Way. It crosses two places only on the ecliptic, here and here. And you'll notice that it's right next to the eagle. In fact, it's a very important place because this, the Milky Way, actually does in fact appear like a serpent. This is its mouth, its eye, and the tail that's going into its mouth. There's it enhanced for you. And I'm still facing the same way. There's the mouth and the tail going into the mouth. Here's a close-up of the same thing. And the eagle appears right over its head. This is galactic central point. We're looking at the galaxy that we're in at a very shallow angle, on edge. And this is where the center of the galaxy is. And this always is there on this ecliptic point. It doesn't move along here, neither does this side. It's always fixed here. The only thing that moves is our perspective as we move through here when we look at the sun. We're just going around the sun, and we're sighting the sun through the zodiac through every year. And this is basically where the eagle would appear. Now, I'm sure people are going to start seeing a similarity between the myth of the phoenix rising from the ashes of his demise, a glowing pyre, and being reborn. Because this is the area where this actually takes place, it becomes very significant if you know that there's an actual thing that's happening as we move every year through this ecliptic. It's called the precession, and it means that we will sight the, let's move back here. We will sight the sun through here at a certain point in the year. And every year, it'll move the most minuscule amount. In fact, it'll take 72 years for us to move 1 degree and actually see the sun rise in a different place along this ecliptic. It takes exactly 25,920 years to move in one complete circuit. And it's interesting that you'll see this oftentimes in illuminated manuscripts, the word Leviathan here, Leviathan, and then this, it's a circumscribed pentagram. And the reason for that is, it's an equation in geometry. It explains precession. Here you have 360 degrees, and between each one of these points of a circumscribed pentagram, you'll have 72 degrees. Multiply them together, you get exactly the length of time it takes to move one circuit in precession. And that's why it's such a big deal. And quite a few illuminated persons use this symbol without actually understanding it. They just feel it has great power. Well, it does, because it explains some of the greatest forces that are taking place all around us, but we can't really define them except through geometry. Another interesting connection here is this Leviathan-type symbol surrounded by the zodiac. There's other symbols here, too. There's a symbol of a half moon and a star, and it gets pretty in-depth. But the main point is that they're related. And the reason they're related is, if you know that the ecliptic is crossed by the galaxy in two places, then it becomes very significant then if we actually sight it during one of the cardinal points of our year, say an equinox or a solstice. In fact, it's so significant that you'll actually, if you understand this, go back into history, you'll be able to mark this point in time here that takes, it's actually a quaternary point through the precession that lasts 25,920 years. Divide it in 4 places, it'll actually equal 6,480 years. You'll find that if you go back from now, 6,480 years, you're ending up in the place where historians peg civilization actually has, having been born, almost out of nothing. Go back another 6,480 years, you'll end up in every time with a configuration that looks like this. Geologists actually mark that year of two quaternary precessions with the division between the Pleistocene and the Holocene, where there was a massive global die-off. This is what this looks like. When you reach the point of the precession where you're at that middle place, where the sun's rising in the center of the galaxy, this is how the ecliptics align to it. And this will occur one day out of the whole year, but when this is aligned to one of our equinoxes or solstices, it takes on extreme significance because you have all the symbols connect at the same time. Here you have the primordial mound that the Egyptians were talking about, the nest of fire that the phoenix is born from, the sun rising in the nest, activating it, the center of the galaxy, and the ecliptic running through here. And if this is aligned with the solstice or an equinox, all the points are matching, because what it means is we've moved through a quarter of the precession, and big things happen then. As I was saying, if you start from 2012 and move back 6,480 years, you end up at the birth of history and civilization. Move back again, the same distance, the division between the Pleistocene and the Holocene, and a massive die-off of more than 90% of the flora and fauna in North America and Europe. Move back again, height of the glacial epoch, and before that, you can actually find no trace of the more ancient hominids. Mankind, Homo sapiens, seems to have been installed here on the Earth. And I'm not saying that we were put here from space, but it seems that we didn't have much competition after that point. This is when this symbol will happen again, on the winter solstice, 2012. It's happening right now, actually, because the actual movement through here is so slow. But it's significant that if you tie this in with the 33 1/3 degrees in the navigational system that's revered by the illuminated societies, you end up with quite a lot of significance to these things. You can actually see more of, or actually understand more of what's going on with the phoenix when you see it's been made into, in the Rosicrucian lore, a double-headed thing with the sun rising in the middle. It's symbolizing the beginning of time and the ending of time, the division of time, and that place where the heavens actually divide time. If you go to any Masonic building where rituals are held, where you go to meet, if you are part of the whole group of the echelons of illuminated fraternities, you'll find that they've been dedicated to two Johns, always the two Johns, the ones that bracket the gospel, John the Baptist and then John the Revelator. He's symbolized by a double-headed eagle, always surmounted by the number 33, and inscribed in the floors of a Masonic hall will always be these two posts, which symbolize the two Johns, and the sun in the center of it, which is hearkening back to that symbol of what happens when the sign of the end of the age happens, that quaternary division of the precession. Every Freemasonic lodge has one of these, and they're usually perched on top, sculptures, and this is from Morals and Dogma, the book that's given to most initiated Freemasons. This is a Rosicrucian symbol. We've incorporated all these things too, but it's trying to say that there's a future point that's significant. Here's all the points connected: 33 1/3, order out of chaos, and everyone